Coming Down is proudly sponsored by Colorado Ganja Gear, high-quality, artistically inspired herb grinders. So let me tell you, these things are great. I actually own one. My favorite part is the perfect consistency you get after grinding. Some grinders just pulverize your herb into dust, but the razor-sharp teeth and smooth action on these always leave you with perfect, fluffy, evenly ground herb. The craftsmanship is top-notch, made from aircraft-grade aluminum to guarantee you won't get metal shavings mixed into your herb. But the best part, truly, is each grinder features original artwork created by Colorado artist Lori Beatty. She creates unique mandalas that are laser-etched into each magnetic lid. And each grinder comes in a silk bag and has free shipping. So just go to etsy.com/shop/Colorado Ganja Gear and enter the code Coming Down in all caps for $5 off, or go to the show notes for this episode and follow the link. Thanks and enjoy the episode.
Hello everyone and welcome to Coming Down. My name is Matthew. I'm joined here by my co-host Nathan.
Well, hello everyone. Have you survived the meat sweats yet?
Brother, I thought that I was going to have permanent meat sweats. I thought that we had tipped some kind of a metabolic scale and I just would never stop sweating for the rest of my life. But here we are. I'm fairly dry and it's warm out.
Nice.
So,
yeah. I came out of Burger Week pretty unscathed, actually.
Well, you didn't eat 14 burgers in 6 days.
I did not. I think I merely did 6. I think I was...
Still a virtuous number.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with my number, but a pretty low count compared to some folks.
I feel like a 1 a day average is respectable. Like,
yeah.
You got into it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there was one day that I just couldn't actually make it out, so I doubled up on another day, but...
Yeah, I mean, that's totally valid. I was surprised that I managed to hit it every day just because I was working, and I will admit that I made a realization this year, and that's that, yeah, I mean, you want to do Burger Week every day because it's fucking Burger Week, but you shouldn't go eat some bullshit that you know is going to be bad. Or, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to say that any of the burgers that I ate for Burger Week were necessarily bad, but...
Sure, but prioritize.
Well, you shouldn't go eat some bullshit that you're pretty sure you're not going to enjoy just because you want to eat another $5 burger for Burger Week. Like,
right.
Maybe take a day off just for your metabolism's sake, you know?
Yeah.
Like, go eat some other food that's delicious that is going to help you, you know?
Yeah.
and then go hard the rest of the week. Like,
yeah, get after the ones that you're really wanting to hit, but yeah.
Yeah, strategize, prioritize. Like, especially when there's 60 fucking places, there's no goddamn way that you're going to get even half of them in.
Right.
If you're trying to be remotely sane.
And just real quick for the uninitiated here in Portland, every year they do Burger Week.
Oh, yeah.
And basically it's, this year it was 60 some odd restaurants all join this thing, and the rules are it can't be a thing that's regularly on your menu, and it has to be $5.
Right. So the Portland Mercury got some various sponsors. I believe it's Jim Beam, and this year it's PBR, and previous years it's been Widmer and other beer companies, and then they get some local meat companies like Nikki USA. And
New Seasons was a big sponsor
and
this year.
New Seasons this year, last year, and I believe the year previous as well, which has helped them out a lot because Nikki USA, I mean, that's a pretty big burden for them because they're kind of like a premier meat provider and they're not doing like a bunch of just regular ass ground beef. I'm guessing in previous years they had to just to get everybody what they needed, but yeah, anyway, they get a bunch of sponsors together and they make it so that all of these places that don't normally showcase burgers. Well, and that's not true because there's plenty of places that do. But yeah, I mean, initially the idea was to get places that don't normally showcase burgers to show off what they can do. And now it's more just like, here's these places and here's what they can do with a burger. It's only $5 and there's probably going to be a drink special too.
Right. Yeah. So here's an excuse to check out some places you've never seen before. Get something that's semi-exclusive because it's only going to be available this week.
Exactly.
And and it's pretty rad. I mean, I've gone out for the last 3 years and checked out Burger Week fare, and it's always been a good time.
Hell yeah. I actually lucked into the first year almost by accident. I was working at Pix. And one of my coworkers, one of the bartenders, was like, so what are you guys doing for Burger Week? And we're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, dude, all these places are doing $5 burgers. Where are we going? And the fucked up thing is, at that point in my life, I hadn't even thought about how much I liked burgers. It was just kind of like, fuck yeah, I'm eating a burger, you know, like wherever.
Well, and fuck yeah, $5.
Well, no, I mean, even before that, it was just like,
sure.
you know, like there was times when we were going out and it was like, yeah, I'm eating a fucking burger. I fucking, like, hamburgers are delicious.
Right.
But I never actually even given them much of a consideration. It was just like, here is another food that is a food that you eat when it's fast food.
Yeah, here's a food I like and will
course,
order.
Yeah, of course burgers are delicious, but you know, like, I don't know. It's crazy to me looking back on it now, but like I'd never really considered a burger to be one of my favorite foods. Like, I knew I loved burritos, I knew I loved pizza.
Well, as it turns out, because you can do it in so many different ways and it almost always works. So, and for reference...
Well, and I've cooked a lot of burgers. Don't get me wrong. Like, a burger has always been one of my staple foods.
Yeah.
But I never really thought about it.
Yeah.
And, like, turns out, I fucking love burgers.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And my feeling on it, too, is that it, again, is just because you can do it so many different ways and it still always sort of retains what a burger means.
Right.
And, you know, I sort of subscribe to the school of thought with, like, pizza because they do Pizza Week out here, and I never really give a fuck because...
Fuck Pizza Week, fuck Wings Week.
Yeah.
Like...
And, like, Pizza Week, it's like... people get all fancy on it and stuff, but then at a certain point it's not pizza. Exactly. You're throwing all this other stuff on bread.
Right.
And that may be delicious, but am I going to call that pizza? Not necessarily, because when I'm looking for pizza, it's kind of a certain thing.
Well, and like, if when you talk to a pizza purist, they're going to tell you that pizza is mostly just like a certain ratio of bread, sauce, and cheese.
Yep.
And when you start talking toppings, you're already starting to fuck it up.
Right.
You know? And,
right.
And so...
And even amount of pizza, or of toppings, because, you know, I wouldn't call myself a purist, but I don't really want 5 toppings. I want...
Fuck no!
Like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I want to be able to taste them all, you know? Yeah, like that's got to work.
I feel like anybody who's worked in pizza is going to tell you 3 is really the max, and you've got to kind of stretch those out, because if there's, like, more than 1 or 2 pieces touching, then, like... you're already fucking it up, you know.
And now maybe our like Chicago like deep dish listeners would contend with that, but so
I would actually I don't remember if we voiced this opinion before on the pod, but like I agree with Stephen Colbert, which is that Chicago pizza is fucking amazing, and I love it, and I wouldn't necessarily put it higher than anything else. But I also would say that it's scarcely pizza at all, and it's pretty much just a pie. Yeah. So, like, I love it, but it's in a different category.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even consider it pizza.
Right. If I'm looking for, like, a thin crust slice.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a certain thing I'm looking for.
That's what I'm looking for, is a thin crust slice. And, like, man, if it has more than fucking 1 topping, we're already getting dangerous, right? You know? Like, and 3 is really the most. So
well, and so again, and then even to just throw shade on Wing Week too, because like that's fine. I like wings, but I also sort of like a certain thing.
Yeah, and I mean like really with wings, you're just changing the sauce, man, and like
right. And how wild do you get with it?
I've been to Fire on the Mountain, and I don't give a fuck about some jalapeno blueberry wings, dude.
This is such a good point, because we have one of the best wing joints that I've ever been to.
Yeah.
And like, I don't really give a fuck about your weirdo whatever it is, man.
No shit. Like, you change the sauce, you change the dipping, you change the sauce it's cooked in, you change the dipping sauce. Like, those are your options with wings. Like,
yeah, even like, I did go to Wing Week last year. I didn't even go this year at all because none of it looked particularly interesting to me. But I went to Maven, who has great food. They did this like harissa style wing,
and I'm cool with that.
And it was fine, but it just like wasn't what I was looking for. So anyway,
well, no kidding. Well, and so the cool thing about burgers, though,
right? So back to burgers, and this is why burgers just work so well for a thing like this.
Right, you can do almost anything.
You can get pretty weird, and it's still a burger.
And as long as you're not piling too much shit on there, or like fucking up the patty too much, like you're still gonna have a burger. And like what I loved about this year, and I feel like there was a little too much focus on slaw just about across the board this year.
There was a lot of slaw burgers this year.
And I'm okay with that. Like, I understand that, like, that's a way to give your burger some crunch, and it's something that I didn't realize, but I really kind of like a little bit of crunch on my burger, whether it's fried onions or crunchy veg. Like,
well, and oftentimes the lettuce will provide that, but sometimes that lettuce wilts. And
exactly. So it's really hard in like a high volume environment to ensure that your butter lettuce or whatever is going to still have some kind of a crunch on it. And furthermore, not enough people use butter lettuce. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, so but what I really enjoyed this year is that almost everyone was trying to develop some kind of a holy trinity, like whether it's salt, fat, heat, or fucking sweet, hot acid. You know, like there was some kind of like sick balance game happening on almost every fucking burger that I enjoyed anyway this year. You know?
Yeah, for real.
That's exciting to me. Like that's the kind of stuff in food that really makes me happy, is when you have that kind of interplay happening between the flavors, where it's like, shit, here's some stuff that I didn't even necessarily think was going to work, and all of a sudden I'm having to rethink the way that I look at this fucking food. You know?
Well, right. And just as it turns out, and again, like we talked about, when you juxtapose it against other foods that I very much like pizza and wings, turns out you get a lot. Burgers are much more of a sandbox. You get to play around a lot and still have what I would call a burger, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I actually very much looked forward to Pizza Week when the first one that I paid attention to happened, and turns out, like, I didn't want any of them. I looked at the fare for it and was like, I don't think I'm going to go and get any of this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but burgers, you just get this kind of wild sandbox to play around in, and that's just so cool. Like, that's, you know, what makes burgers such a cool food.
No doubt. And
so, shout out burgers.
Fucking it. Well done, burgers. And I gotta say that, like, you know, I look at myself as somewhat of a burger purist, but I've had a lot of my assumptions challenged this year, and I like that. I really like that. You know, like in previous years, I feel like the burgers that did the best with me were ones like Lalo had, where it's like, this is just a bacon burger, but we put some chev and some Mama Lils on it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that just fucking works, because the Mama Lils have acid that cuts the fucking chev.
Yep.
And the chev tames down the heat on the Mama Lils, so you're not like just eating a mouthful of chilies, but you're literally eating a mouthful of chilies.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's so fucking good, you know? Like, I don't know. Like, and so this was the first year, I think, that, like, some of the, like, holy shit, we just went fucking nuts on this burger.
Yeah.
Like, they actually worked.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just a pile of fucking fat guy foods between two buns.
Right.
You know, I feel like the chicken fried steak burger from Spirit of 77 is, like, the best example of this. Like,
yeah.
They did some stuff that is totally acceptable on other dishes, and just figured out a way to make all of those things come together in a satisfying way that's still a fucking hamburger.
Hell yeah. Dude, and so this is why you need to start a food blog. I said we were going to talk about it, and now you've got all these listeners to hold you accountable, and I'm going to make them hold you accountable.
Well, here we are. I mean, I've been saying I wanted to do it for many years, and now
for at least 3 now.
Yeah, and now we have people, like, in the fucking comments on my Facebook, not only telling me that I have to do this, but saying, hey, I also want to do this. How can I help make this happen? You know,
yeah, like, literally your homie also said he wanted a food podcast. So, look, we can make all of these things happen, man.
I'm saying, so, like, you heard it here first. I'm going to start doing some kind of food critic stuff. Like,
please.
Who knows what form it's going to take, but right now we're looking at some type of short podcast form. I think that's going to be easier for me than a blog, honestly.
Well, I think you can do both.
I mean, there's going to be a blog piece for each podcast.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah.
Just kind of like a short form.
And you can just tie them together, too. I mean, you can just start up your Insta or your blog or whatever and tie all of those components together.
And I feel like that's just how it works these days. Like, you don't just have a podcast or a blog.
Nope, you do a whole sort of thing.
You've got an Insta and a blog and a podcast.
And especially when you're talking about food, because a lot of it's visual. People are going to want to see what you're talking about.
I'm certainly not going to sit here and talk for 15, 20 minutes about something that no one can see. Like, that's just crazy.
Boy.
Yeah. Just think about, like I'm sitting there eating it and just, like, scraping the fork on the crust on the fucking burger, just like, you want some ASMR? Like, here we go.
Oh my god, that'd be whack. See, I've been trying to think ever since your buddy mentioned it. I was like, what would a food podcast be like? Like, what's the format? Also, listener at home, write in if you've got some ideas. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. Like, do I commentary? Yeah. Right. And now he's spreading the mustard. You know, like.
Right. Well, I almost think that it would end up being like a YouTube podcast, like where we just kind of film it and like the audio ends up on Spotify and whatever. But like,
sure. But there will be a lot of extra components to go along with it. Yeah. Visual aids and pictures and other
exactly.
things.
And I mean, who knows? Who knows what form this will take? It might just end up being a blog, but
now, dude, it's got to be something, man. It's got to be something. I've been watching you write reviews on food for 3 years. You have personally taught me so much about food. Like, you've taught me cooking techniques. You've taken me to restaurants that are amazing. You've worked in the industry for years and years and years. Like, you know food, man. Like, you should do something with it. So
I guess you're right.
Of course I'm right. Of course I'm fucking right. And not just me, man. Like, everyone, man. I'm not the only one who said to do this. So, like, I'm gonna just fucking throw down the gauntlet right now and say, like, you fucking do it.
Well, you heard it here first. Like, Matthew's food blog. It's coming soon.
It's coming, man. It's coming.
Hell yeah.
All right, but you know what else is coming soon? Because
Segway master.
So we could just talk about burgers. Apparently, we just did 15 minutes on burgers. Well, so like, turns out we maybe got a format.
Yeah, I mean, like, we literally just did a very short podcast on burgers. Yeah. So,
but I'll tell you what else is coming soon. So we can just get everyone into this episode.
Live show!
That's right. We have a live show coming up for our 1-year anniversary. That's going to be September 20th at the Firkin Tavern here in Portland, Oregon.
Firkin A, man.
Yeah, Firkin A. Dude, I love this place so much, and it's going to be rad. It's at 4 p.m. It's free. I'm going to try and book another act, but we'll see if that happens. It might just be us goofing on stage.
Who knows? We might just do a Q&A with our past hosts. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Oh, yeah, that is a possibility. Yeah, or we might drag people up on stage to tell stories. I don't know. We've got a lot of ideas.
Shit, we might even just do some karaoke, but no promises. Yep. No promises.
One way or another, it's going to be a riot. It's our 1-year anniversary. And, so, like I said, book your plane tickets, take your days off.
That's right.
Make sure you come down to the live show.
Hell yes. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Hell yeah. You got any commentary on this episode? Or I think this is a pretty straightforward, just little tale.
Yeah, this is a good one. I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
I believe we gave all of the lead up in the episode. I don't think there's anything to amend.
Cool, man.
Yeah, I mean,
let's just do the housekeeping, man.
Killer. So yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this, you're obviously on a platform, but if you want to know anything more about what we've been talking about, please check out the mothership. It's comingdownpod.com. It's got links to all the platforms. It's got show notes. It's got links to our Patreon, which we thank each and every one of our patrons because they're the ones who keep the lights on.
Fuck yes.
Plenty of sick rewards for those who get on the various tiers that we have there. That's patreon.com/comingdownpod. If you'd like to contact us, if you'd like to be on the show, that's comingdownpod@gmail.com or @comingdownpod on Twitter. Please hit us up. We would love to hear from you. anything that you want to say.
Bug Matthew about starting this food blog.
Yes, please harass me about my blog as much as you possibly want to. Beyond that, if you feel like giving us a bump, give us a rate and review on Stitcher. We'd really appreciate it. Other than that, let's go!
I kind of feel bad for those guys because they did take a book series that was beloved and made a show that was very beloved and huge and massive, and then kind of fucked the ending up. And now apparently if you Google bad writers, they're the first hit. And it's just like, damn, poor guys. Like, it's like, how you turned on us. Like, goddamn.
Well, I mean, I will say that it was kind of hubris to like not just hire hire a writing team to do it, and maybe they did, and I'm just talking out my ass right now, but like I can't imagine with a team of writers they couldn't have come up with a better story.
Agreed, but they probably thought they were fine. They had a personal summit with the author of the books. They're like, we'll get this, we'll nail this.
Author of the books who is also a massive troll. Like
that's also true.
I wouldn't put it past him to set them up to fail, you know? Honestly.
See, Alan Moore, take a note. you can fucking scowl from your castle top, or
yeah, exactly. Troll. Which, I mean, kind of kudos, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, if these books ever do get put out and they're just completely different.
Well, I mean, there's a Cracked article, and I mean, like, take it with a grain of salt because it's a fucking Cracked article, but like, the recent Cracked article just compares everything that Martin has said in interviews about his future books to the writing they did, and it really makes it look like they just kind of panned everything that he told them and came up with some shit on their own.
Damn.
Yeah. And I mean, they also cite references from previous seasons where they did literally that. And I mean, we've also always known that the show is about 40 to 60% consistent with the book. So it's
right.
Never been identical
right
by any means, but
No, and honestly, I've found too that things that walk too side by side, it's not enjoyable because it's a different medium. And so it's like, well, yeah, you did do it, except like, and this is sort of what Zack Snyder does, but I was even thinking that with Watchmen. It's like, dude did frame by frame, followed the story to a T except the end, but for 96% of that story in that book, it looked like the pages came to life.
It's true.
And yet it missed everything that the book was good at.
Well, and it's crazy because like I saw that movie really high and I was like, oh man, I see the movie inside the movie. Like I see the movie that he could have made.
Yep. That
wasn't a shot by shot reproduction. That was a modern like retelling of the Watchmen story that isn't like hackneyed by all the 80s fucking references.
Yeah.
That's compelling fucking movie.
Yeah.
And unfortunately he was too much of a diehard comic book fan to make that movie.
Yeah, totally. But that makes me believe that, walking too close to the source material can fuck it up.
And like
it can just make it that, and you're just like, well, if it's just this, I'll just read it.
It's almost to the point where I would rather someone puts their stamp on it and fails than gets too close and fails.
Yeah, I agree.
Because at least then I can blame the auteur and say, well, your vision sucks.
Yeah.
Rather than, well, your movie sucked because it was too much like the comic book. Like, fuck.
Yeah, totally.
Like, everyone sucks here,
Yeah.
Like...
No, and like I went and like the movie The Martian, it was also just so similar to the book, and they left out a couple little things, but it was like, that movie just did nothing for me. It was like, well, you did kind of get it all right, but I didn't feel any of the, I didn't feel any of the joy I had reading the book. It just, there was nothing here for me.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I wonder if people who haven't read the book felt any joy watching that movie at all.
I keep getting it confused with Interstellar because there's so many similar scenes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And they came out about the same time. Yeah, I don't know. And Interstellar was a better movie, even though it was
much better movie.
There was also some stuff from that movie that was a little unsatisfying. But
for sure. Yeah.
Sorry, Anne Hathaway. You done fucked up.
Yeah, I like that movie quite a bit. Although we saw it in fucking 70 mil at the Hollywood.
Oh,
so it was just
chef's kiss.
Really gorgeous looking movie. I kind of didn't care too much about the plot of the characters.
Oh, dude, I would go watch fucking Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom on that fucking screen and be thrilled. Yeah, I don't give two shivering fucks. If it's in 70 mil, I'm there.
Yeah, I know, right?
That said, I haven't gone to see a movie in 70 mil since The Hateful Eight because I'm just so fucking busy all the time.
I haven't either, and it's got to be special ones,
But yeah, I mean, The Hateful Eight.
Oh, actually, I think we saw the 2001 70 mil release.
It just fucking dripped off that screen like those big fat snowflakes. I'm just how could it look any better?
I know. Well, Tarantino came to town to tell everyone that that was the best screening that you would see of that movie.
Well, and he even mentioned this in his opening speech for the fucking showing that he came to at the Hollywood Theater. He said that 70 millimeter premiered at the Hollywood Theater in Portland.
Oh, wow.
When it was originally conceived back in whatever it was, the 10s or the 20s or the teens.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but back when 70 millimeter was originally a new technology, it premiered at I think it was a number of theaters. It was 5 or 6 theaters in America, and the Hollywood Theater is one of them.
Nice.
And so and I believe it's the only one that still exists.
Oh, and they used to call it something hilarious, something
Paramount Theater, or
Well, no, the technology. It was
it was Panavision or something.
Panavision or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but that's one of the reasons why Tarantino made sure that he came to the Hollywood is because he wanted to, glorify the. Just the fucking history. He's this is the only one that still exists, and it fucking premiered here. So I want to share that knowledge and make sure that everyone's aware of it.
That's so cool.
Guy's such a diehard film buff.
I know. Yeah, it's kind of why I forgive a lot of his ass hattery, but
ass hattery is right.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, the dude can make a movie I enjoy a lot, and he's just an ultimate nerd. So
yeah. And I mean that's why he makes movies. It's just because of his love of the craft. So I mean it's easy to forgive some of his transgressions.
Yeah, for sure. For now.
Yeah, I don't know how well that guy's going to age. But,
I don't know either.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
Speaking of aging well.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can remember all of this fucking story. So I want to say that this was summer after my senior year. It could have been summer between... Oh, no. Because as we've already discussed, the summer between my junior year and senior year, I was in captivity. So...
Oh, right.
This was definitely the summer after my senior year. And me and my buddy Adam... Fuck, I can't remember who else was along for this trip. I want to say it was Joel. I want to say it was me and Adam and Joel. But it might have been a different one of my friends. And if it was you, and I've forgotten that it was you and not Joel, then I'm sorry. But yeah, we took a trip to Eugene. My buddy Adam was dating this girl in Eugene named Rachel, who was staying in this... It was kind of like student housing, like it was close to campus, but I want to say it was just a rental, and she was not sharing, but she was roommates with a band called Nutria. Yeah. And they were like a hippie funk band.
Yeah, they were.
Fucking A. They were pretty good, man. Like, they had a Hammond B3 organ, and like, you know, they knew what they were about. Like, it was like, oh shit, what's the name of that band? It's like three dudes' names, and they're a jazz band.
Medeski, Martin, and Wood.
Yeah, it was Medeski, Martin, and Wood kind of shit.
Okay, that's cool.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, not too fucking overblown and pretentious and noodly. Like,
yeah.
Just kind of like jazz, you know?
Except they sound like a fucking sugar alternative.
Well, okay.
Oh, wait. Isn't a Nutria an animal?
Absolutely.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, that's what you were talking about. I thought you were saying Medeski, Martin, and Wood sound saccharine.
Oh. No, but
I'm like, okay. I never thought of them as being that sweet.
I wish I was that clever. No, I was like, Nutria. That sounds like some tech bro startup or like...
Oh, no. Nutrias are beavers without the tails.
Yeah. And they're big, though, right?
They're size of beavers, yeah.
Yeah.
They're massive rodents.
All right, that's a cooler name.
Yeah. Oh, Nutria, especially for Eugene. Like, there's tons of Nutria in Eugene.
Oh, are there really?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Where do they hang out?
The river.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, there's the Willamette, and then there's the mill race, which is...
Wait, so are they really just beavers? Are they dam builders?
No.
Oh, okay.
They're just giant water rats.
Sick.
Yeah. And anyone out there who is like a naturalist who recognizes how wrong I am about everything that I'm saying, I'm sorry. But yeah, a band called Nutria. They practiced in the basement. Like, they were fucking... At the time, we thought they were sick as fuck. So we were pretty stoked to be like hanging out with these dudes. So the plan was we were going to come over from Bend. We're going to hang out in Eugene. We were going to pick up some mushrooms down on 13th Street because that was still a thing.
That was like the stretch you hit to try and just like find some drugs.
That was the shakedown street.
Yep.
And so we did exactly that. It took no time at all.
Pearl Street in Boulder.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah.
And, you know, we secured our stash, and I think we were there for a couple of days. So I think we, like, secured our stash, and, like, it was starting to get late at that point. So we, like, came back to the house and, like, had a few drinks. And, like, I think it was either that night or the next morning that I observed some weed smoking etiquette that I had never been privy to before. This guy took his bong stem and he was just heating it up so that all of the like fucking resin that had completely all of the resin that had completely occluded the hole was just dribbling out like this giant black slug, and he was just dribbling it into like some fucking paper so that he could throw it away. And I'm sitting here going, you're throwing away your resin? Because this is how like close to fucking high school stoner I was, that like I'd never seen anyone actually throw away resin. I myself had stopped smoking resin because I had access to good weed, but I still kind of hoarded it just out of fear
just
that
in case
at some point I might need it. And so I had like this big resin ball that I just wasn't doing anything with.
Right.
But that's when I realized that I was never going to smoke resin again if I could possibly avoid it. And so, like, this guy was on point, and he's like, dude, I fucking sell weed. Like, because I think I said something. I was just like, oh, shit. You're just throwing that away, huh? And he's like, dude, I fucking sell weed. Like, I don't ever not have it. And, like, look how much resin is here. Like, this is just from, like, a day or something. And I'm like... trying to calculate how much weed you would have to smoke in a day to completely eclipse a bong stem, you know, and just like fucking galaxy brain exploded, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh shit, this is some new fucking level of like THC. And I mean, you know, I've certainly I hit that mark and surpassed it in later years.
Oh, but, yeah, for sure.
It was my first exposure to real heavy bong tokes. So yeah.
Well, yeah, and people, like, the first time I lived with some people who would just, like, cash a bowl, like, you know, 3/4 of the way done. There's a couple of green flecks in there, but it's pretty spent, you know, and they're just like, what are you doing?
Oh, yeah.
I go out to the ashtray and, like, scoop that stuff up later.
Well, right. In fact, in Trinity House for a little while, we had, Carl had this ashtray that was, I forget the name of it, but it was, like, just all the ends of a bunch of like spliffs and stuff, like and like bowls that were like half cashed and stuff. So like It's just kind of like a rainy day kind of thing. Like, we might throw this away, but, like, who knows if we're going to need it. Because, like, there were still those fucking summers where, like, the weed would just dry up, you know?
Yeah,
like,
well, when it's illegal, dude. You don't know.
Exactly. I mean, like, everybody goes on the festival circuit. Like, you just don't know how to get a hold of anybody. There's definitely weed in town.
Yeah.
You just don't know anybody who has any. And, like, yeah, I mean, that was still a thing in the late 90s. So,
yep, for sure.
Anyway... Yeah, the regen or refry bowl or whatever, or ashtray was definitely a thing. And in fact, there was a kid who came over and, like, just helped himself and started fucking rolling a fatty out of there. And Carl's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Oh, I didn't think you cared. It's like, if I didn't care, I'd throw that shit away, man. Like, you can't just help yourself. Like, get the fuck out of here, you know?
Weird.
Yeah, well, this is Daniel. He was... Not the Daniel you know.
Yeah, sure.
Different fucking Daniel, but yeah, he was kind of a piece of shit.
Was this like a party house?
Not really. Oh, I mean, yeah, kind of. But it was like, you know, Carl was the dude, you know, and like me and Doug lived on one side and Scott lived on another side, and like, you know, our powers combined were. Fucking weird shit. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
But this is a different place. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, in this picture, you know, I'm still like that. The Carl situation was much later. Like in this picture, I'm still in high school, just fresh out of high school, and like we're just kind of having our adventure after our senior year, you know. And so, me and Adam and whoever the fuck our third friend was, and I'm sorry. You know, we got all of our shrooms together and we like fucking got dinner and like crashed out, and then the next day we're hanging out and like Nutria is practicing in the basement and it's fucking awesome, and like around midday they decide that they're gonna make some pasta with this ganja butter that they have, and it's bone simple. They just boil some spaghetti noodles and like mix them with this butter and then throw some Parmesan on it. It's just some butter noodles, you know? And like fucking handing out these big plates, you know, with like fucking, I don't know, like quarter of a box of spaghetti on each one, and like,
right.
You know, just about everybody eats like maybe half their plate and is like, this is about as much starch with butter as I can handle.
Yeah.
You know. And I do the same thing, but then I don't like immediately put my plate in the fridge like everybody else. I'm just kind of hanging out, like munching on a couple bites or whatever, and then it kicks in. And like, I have very little experience with ganja food at this point.
Yeah.
You know, I've had maybe a couple of brownies or
dude,
balls
it is
or whatever.
a different thing.
Oh yeah, and you know we've also been smoking and whatever, because like we scored some hash and like some other shit that day or the day before, and yeah, so I get the munchies and I've got a plate of noodles in front of me, and I'm like, ooh man, noodles with butter and fucking cheese is tasting good. Especially with that little weed kick it's got going. So I polish my plate. And we're sitting there, and then the munchies get more intense. And I'm like, man, I'm fucking starving.
It's a vicious cycle, dude.
And I'm like, hey, Adam, are you going to finish your noodles? And he's like, no. And I'm like, can I eat them? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, cool, because I'm hungry. And he's like, go for it, dude. And I think everyone kind of caught on at that point and decided to get in on the joke. So everyone was like, yeah, man, if you want some of mine, you can have them too. And so like I kind of like scraped together a few plates of noodles into one plate and just start chowing down, dude. And like nobody's trying to make too big of a deal out of it, but people are kind of chuckling, you know, just like, yeah, get it, dude. And I'm like, no. Yeah, fucking A, man, these are delicious. Oh, I'm so hungry. This is hitting the spot.
Oh no, you're kind of the butt of everyone's joke.
Oh, in hindsight, it's fairly clear.
Oh no.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like it was all good natured, just like, you know, like
sure, dude's
gonna fucking be taking a nap, you know, like
yeah,
was kind of the consensus, and lo and behold, they were not wrong. You know, I didn't kill all the noodles. Like, I definitely left a couple or three plates in the fridge, but like definitely ate more than my fair share. And at some point, I started assing out. Like, you know, I don't remember too much after, like, putting my plate in the sink. But, you know, at some point, someone is like, hey, buddy, like, we've got this giant fucking pillow. Do you just want to lay down on it? And, like, no joke, this is a pillow that was, like, 6 feet on a side.
Whoa.
And, like...
just like a queen-size pillow?
Yeah, and about 3 feet tall in the middle.
Whoa.
Just, like, covered in fucking corduroy patchwork. You know?
Hell yeah.
Just, like... A massive fucking, like, beanbag kind of throw pillow, but it was filled with, like, shredded up foam, so it wasn't exactly a beanbag.
This is where we shove the kids who ate too many noodles.
Yeah, and, like, just somebody just threw it in the middle of the floor, and they're just like, why don't you lay down? And I was like, cool. And so I plopped down and was just unconscious for hours.
Yeah.
And at some point, people start showing up because we were planning on having a Jungle Juice party that night.
Oh, nice.
And, like, Nutria is going to play and stuff. So at some point, friends start showing up because they're there to help cut fruit and, like, start making the Jungle Juice. Because these people weren't maniacs like we were when we made Jungle Juice and didn't, like, soak their fruit for 3 days.
Right.
You know, they wanted the fruit to be a respite from the alcohol,
yes,
rather than your downfall.
Right. Yeah. The grape should be nice and not a full shot of Everclear.
Exactly.
Yep.
Like, I don't know who's came up with the idea of infusing all of the fruit with most of the booze.
Oh yeah,
but...
there was one 4th of July that I banned Jungle Juice. I was like, fucking kibosh on Jungle Juice ever at my parties ever again. Like, not gonna have it, dude.
Yeah.
Because people fucking did some things in my bathroom that night and all over my yard and my porch and everywhere.
You end up painting the walls with stuff you don't like.
Yeah, and it was all clearly Jungle Juice. It's like, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, these guys have obviously, like, seen this shit before, and they were like, no, we're basically making fruit punch.
Right.
Because fuck
Sounds
you
good.
idiots, you know? But so people are coming through the front door, and, like, they made a point to introduce me to everyone who came over. So they're like, hey, man. Hey, wake up. Hey, buddy. Matt. Hey. Hey, this is Jeff. Oh, hey. Hey, man. Nice to meet you. I'm laying on the floor on a giant pillow with eyes that are barely open. Just, like, shaking hands with people as they come in. You know, just like... I'm just in the middle of the living room, you know? As people come in, they gotta walk around me. So, like, everyone just introduces themselves, you know?
Hell yeah.
It was adorable.
So you became a party fixture.
Yeah, it was like the most gentle trolling ever, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, I was completely unaware that I was the butt of any jokes. I was just fully engaged, just like, oh, hey! Another person has hoved into my view. Like, allow me to shake your hand.
Like, I'm just going to spend this whole party on this pillow, and anyone who sort of, like, crosses my path, like, we'll have a great old time.
That's the thing, is, like, it wasn't even party time yet. It was just prep
sure.
time. It was just, like, friends coming over early before the real thing kicked in.
Yeah.
You know? And so, like, you know, like, I probably met, like, maybe... between half a dozen and a dozen people. It's unclear. Probably about 10, but maybe more like 8. Anyway, at some point I managed to scrape myself off this pillow, you know, and it's before sunset, but it's much later in the day. I mean, like, mind you, it was before noon when I ate all these noodles.
Oh yeah,
and it's like approaching evening at this point. So I've just emerged from a long summer's nap.
Yeah,
and I am refreshed and ready to go.
I bet you felt pretty good.
Yeah, my THC receptors are fully loaded. Like, a single hit off a pipe is enough to just send me spinning, you know, and that's great. Like, the state that I'm in, that's what I want. And it's fucking wonderful. And, like, you know, we get our mushrooms in order, and, like, we I don't remember how much we ate that night. I don't think it was a full eighth because we weren't trying to, like, get too weird. But also in those days, there wasn't much talk of taking doses that were less than eighths. So
yeah.
Who knows? It was probably, let's say it was around 3 grams, just to be generous.
Sounds good.
But yeah, like we took enough mushrooms to get off without getting too weird. And then the jungle juice was ready, and there were, I don't know how you describe them. They're the kind of goblets that you get ridiculous drinks in at restaurants, like the 2-person margaritas.
Oh, like the fish bowls?
Yeah, like fish bowls.
Yeah.
Like at the Space Room. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we had those full of jungle juice.
Oh man, yeah.
And we're hanging, and we're coming up on mushrooms, like drinking this fucking fruit juice cocktail down in the basement, listening to fucking Nutria go off, and we're just like, man, this is great. We never do shit like this in our fucking town. Like,
yeah.
Although we definitely had jungle juice parties, but we weren't drinking out of fish bowls. Listening to
this seemed a step above what you were used to.
Yeah, although like in later years we definitely got up to the same shit. But it was my first exposure to a live band with mushrooms and a giant King's cup of jungle juice.
Hell yeah, that sounds great.
It was glorious. And, as the evening progresses, like, we start getting higher, and we stop drinking as much juice as one does.
Man, I was just thinking, like, I'd do that to this day.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a live funk band, mushrooms, and a giant fishbowl of jungle juice. Like,
dude,
sign me up.
I'd do that tonight. Yeah. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Some things never change, my man.
What are you doing in August? Let's figure this out. Anyway. So yeah, like, night's going great. The band finishes playing, like, we come up out of the basement, we're hanging out in the kitchen, like, fucking smoking weed, and we're having great conversations, because, like, the mushrooms are, like, jiving with the booze in a very social way.
Oh,
like,
hell yeah.
Right. we're like outgoing, we're engaged, but we're able to, like, engage our higher functions and, like, get fucking silly, know? And we're having these cool fucking conversations, and I'm like, oh man, you're fucking rad. Like, what is your name? Dude, I met you earlier today. I'm Steven. Oh, cool, man. Yeah, you were on the pillow in the living room. Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
We'll see, there's these noodles, and...
Yeah. I explained the story, they're like, I know, man. I know. It's good, like, it's really good to talk to you. Like, it's, like, this just keeps happening over and over. I'm just, like, floating around the party, like, high on mushrooms, like, having a good time, drinking, I'm like, I meet somebody else, we have this great conversation, I'm just like, man, I'm so fucking stoked that I met you. Like, what's your name? Dude, I met you earlier.
Remember, pillow?
Yeah. I'm Jeff, or
right?
I'm Jen, or like,
that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, like, seriously, this happened like at least half a dozen times where it's like, dude, you already know my name. It's just like, God damn it, you know how fucked up I was.
So this is so funny because certain parties adopt, like, something guy or whatever, right. Just some person who's been this person at the party for the whole time or whatever. So you were that probably a couple different ways. Exactly. Like, first you were like the guy who ate all the noodles, and then you were the guy on the pillow, and then you were the guy reintroducing himself to everyone because he forgot that he was the guy on the pillow.
Exactly.
Yep.
And yeah, everybody's having a great fucking time. Like, it was seriously a cool fucking party. I don't know that there were many other people who were on psychedelics besides us, but it was Eugene. Like, who the fuck knows?
Doesn't matter, really.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just a great fucking time. And so, at some point we go out on the porch for a smoke or whatever, and like, I decided to just fucking hook around the side of the house to take a piss in the side yard. And I see this fucking shadowy figure moving through the yard, and I'm like, what the fuck, who is that? And then I see light glinting off a fucking badge.
Oh shit.
And I'm like, holy fuck, that's a fucking cop. And
just like creeping in the backyard.
Yeah, and so like
Do you have a flashlight?
No, he was just
What?
like moving through the yard in darkness. Like I think he was just trying to get set up in the back of the house because they were about to raid the front. And so I just grabbed my homies and I'm like, dudes, cops inside now, and like just as subtly as I could without alarming everyone, you know. No, I want to say that I just got everyone inside because then the cops started beating on the front door. And like meanwhile we're like getting deeper into the house so that like
pushing the party into
well because we're minors, and like I think the other folks at the party were of age, so we didn't want to get the party shut down for underage drinking. Right. So like we're just trying to find the logical center of the house where they're
like getting all the minors into the crypt while they beat at the fucking gates.
Exactly. And so like,
I know that move.
Right. And so like we get back into the kitchen, and then like fucking Sneaky Pete like starts beating on the kitchen door, like cop who's coming through the back.
Shit.
Or maybe he just came walking in. I don't remember, but I just remember like seeing that there was cops coming through both ground floor entrances.
Shit.
And decided that it was time for me to take a shit in the dark. And just kind of closed myself in a darkened bathroom and turned on the fan. Locked the door.
There you go.
Just sat on the toilet without taking my pants down, just like,
yeah,
okay, I'm just gonna hang out in here and listen and see what happens. Oh no, I don't even think I turned the fan on. I think I just like closed the door and was just like, I'm just gonna hang out here in the bathroom. And like, you know, I heard the cops like going through the fridge and like, you know,
damn, really,
talking, like just like a bunch of shit clanking around, you know, like. Because we had all like these giant jars of jungle juice in the fridge, like all these glass jars, and like, you know, just figured they were dumping out all the juice. And you know, eventually, like I hear people in the kitchen just like kind of talking, and I don't hear cops anymore. And so I get up, I flush the toilet, I walk out of the bathroom, and everyone's just looking at me. And I'm like, well, how's it going, guys? And they're like, were you taking a shit that entire time?
Now you're the guy who was shitting during the whole cop experience.
And I'm like, well, no. But I didn't want it to seem like I was hiding in the bathroom, so I flushed the toilet. And they just start dying laughing. And they're like, well, dude, like, honestly, good for you, because, like, the cops didn't figure out that anyone was underage. Like, I'm sorry, man, you look really young. They probably would have checked your ID. Yeah. Like, Adam and Joel definitely looked older than me. And so they're like, also, like, thank you guys for fucking hiding all of your shit in your backpacks and not just leaving it in the kitchen. And we're like, what? And they're like, dude, when we take mushrooms, we just leave all that shit out on the kitchen counter. Because, like, who knows if you're going to want to take more, right? You guys still live with your parents, so you fucking hid everything in the bedroom.
You stashed all your shit.
Absolutely. We rolled it all up, put it in backpacks, and shoved them under the fucking beds, you know? Like,
damn.
We had our shit on lock. And they're just like, yeah, I mean, like, all they did was dump out the jungle juice and gave us a noise violation. Like, that's why they even came in the first place.
Yeah, of course.
It was because the band was playing.
Yeah, of course.
Know? So, yeah.
Okay. Now I need to know, how did they get in the house?
The cops?
Yeah.
They just fucking let themselves in.
Seriously?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they beat on the front door, and I, you know, obviously I was on mushrooms, so, like, my recollections are a little shaky, but, like, I want to say that, like, they just kind of, like, were like, we know that you... Actually, I think somebody fucking... If I remember correctly, the folks in the kitchen told me that, like, when the cops came walking up, like, you know, I obviously got everyone that I was with inside before the cops came walking up. And when the cops did come walking up, like, somebody barfed and then spilled a fishbowl of jungle juice.
Cool.
So they were just like, we're going inside.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Things were too out. Yeah. Ugh, damn.
You know, it was just like, well...
They sort of do get to at that point.
Yeah.
Whether it's like, it's pretty gray area, but like...
I mean, somebody dumps a fishbowl and then someone vomits. Like, it's not probable cause, but also, like, you're gonna find the probable cause once you go inside and like fudge the paperwork. You know? I mean, like, not that I'm fucking CSI over here, but like,
right.
Just saying.
Right. Yeah.
They had enough.
No, totally. And when a party's popping off that hard, and no one's around to like answer to them or answer the door or anything, like they're just gonna come in.
18th Street, like right down the street from Mac Court, like we're right on campus, like they can basically just walk in.
They raid campus houses all the time.
Yeah, I mean, like who the fuck knows what the actual legality of the situation was and what actually happened, you know, but I'm just saying, whether someone let them in or not, like they came in and fucking dumped out all the booze, and we're like,
back.
We're not taking anybody out of here, but you guys can't have any more of this fucking jungle juice.
Right. Aww.
Little did they know we were also fucking shrooming, but you know.
And probably had backup plans at that point.
Yeah. I mean, well, at that point everybody was so fucking soused that it's like, either you were high enough to keep partying and you didn't care about booze anymore at that point,
right?
Or you were so drunk that you were fucking going home,
like heading home.
This party's fucking busted.
Maybe anyway. Passing out on a giant pillow in the middle of the living room,
as one does. You know. But yeah, it just really struck me that, like, you know, our fucking still living with our folks' instincts are what saved people from going to jail at that party, you know?
Yeah, that's so funny.
Because we definitely had shared our shrooms with a lot of the folks who, like, you know, greeted me on the pillow.
You'd always go fetch them and then put them back.
Yeah, you know, exactly. And same thing with our weed. You know, if we were smoking weed, we'd go get, like, a nugget from the bag and, like, fucking leave it in the backpack under the bed. And go fucking pack a bowl, you know?
Yep. That's hilarious, man.
Yeah, dude. Late 90s Eugene.
Hell yeah.
It was a scene.